Good morning. Greetings and salutations, one and all. I'm Captain Jack Morgan, as you can tell from the front of my desk, and of course, looking at me in my unmistakable voice, apparently. I'm only doing this video because it had come to my attention that I still have some people that actually do care about what's being said about me out in the metaverse. So, with that, I have to respond to a video and a post that was sent to me in regards to one Mr. GrimLock. Let me give a little bit of backstory to why I'm even doing this. Last night was my first episode of Where's the Beef in around 2 months. It was Season 4, Episode 1, to where Raven Sprite took on AW92. In my opinion, the show went very, very well. As a matter of fact, the whole premise of the show, in case people don't know and they're not familiar with it, cheap plug, you can watch the videos on here, my YouTube channel. The whole point of the show is for two people who are arguing to tell their sides of the story and to hopefully come to an agreement in the middle and to end the drama, to end the problem, to end the fight. Well, as you can see from my videos, that doesn't happen very often. People are really headstrong. They're really full of piss and vinegar, if you will, and they can't help but continue the drama. Last night, though, Raven and A&W had it out on stage. Things were brought up. They talked about it, and they came to a conclusion that there were other sources that were causing them to argue and fight. Well, they're not going to become friends, but they have agreed to leave each other alone and let it go their separate ways. So in my opinion, it was a very successful show. Now, with that being said, going to the very beginning before the show even started, Mr. GrimLock had come into my world to come watch the show and to, as he said, support one of his friends. Considering I know he does not care for Raven Sprite whatsoever, I'm guessing he meant AW. I'm guessing they're friends. That being said, there was somebody already in the world that in real life has a restraining order against GrimLock. GrimLock knows he cannot be anywhere this person is, whether it's real life or virtual reality. Now, the very first time that these two had an issue with this is when GrimLock was on my stage for Where the Beef, and the person that has the RO against him, restraining order, came into my world and was not supposed to be there. After the show was over, I went and confronted the individual and I asked, why are you here? You're not supposed to be here. You have an RO against him. You need to leave. Eventually, they left. That was a bad mark on that person, not on GrimLock. So that would be 1-0 GrimLock if you're keeping score. Then later on, while there was a different show going on, it was a totally different show, GrimLock came into the world to confront a person that was on the stage. However, the person that has the RO against him was already in the stands, was already there way before he showed up. So now he had to go. Now, I actually was on the stage behind my podium, and I was trying to inform him, you can't be here. There's somebody here that's got legal ramifications against you, and you can't be around them. He claims he never heard me. He claims whatever. I don't care. I don't care what the reasoning was. He stayed to try to ask his question, and I repeated myself, you have to go because that person is here. You have to go. And he left. To his credit, he left after the second time I told him. So now it's 1-1. So now they're even. So now it's a clean slate. It's washed clean. You can't say, well, they were there for... Don't be a 5-year-old. It doesn't matter who was there first. The fact is, you both did it to each other. Now it's wiped slate clean. So then we come to last night. The person that has the restraining order against him was already there at the show, supporting their friend. GrimLock shows up, and I had to go confront him. Now, I have GrimLock blocked because I didn't want anything more to do with him. I made that point perfectly clear after something I heard that he had done, and, I'm not going to get into that right now. I could at a different time if people really want to know what he did, but I'm not getting into that at this point. I had to unblock him, and I went as a gentleman and said, I'm sorry, but you can't be here today because the person that's got the legal ramifications against you, the RO, they're here. They've been already here, so you can't stay. And he said, but I was just coming to support my friend. I get that. I understand that. I respect that. But that's not what the law says. I have to follow the law. And if you have an RO against you, you can't come in. Now, could I have let him come in? Absolutely. If he wants to get himself in trouble, that's on him. If he wants to violate the restraining order, that would have been on him. But I decided to be the better person and at least inform him they were there. Never did I yell at him. Never did I scream at him. Never did I disrespect him. And there was at least 20 people around watching the confrontation as it was happening. Now, I'm not saying he was confrontational because he wasn't. He didn't like the fact that he couldn't be there, but it, was what it was. And so he left. So I thought that was going to be the end of it. But of course not. Mr. Grimlock can't help but put his side of the story out there and make the people that he's had to deal with look like they were going against him. Mr. Grimlock, I did not go against you. You say that there's no point in talking to me about anything, so I'm just going to believe what I want to believe. Well, I believe the truth, and the only truth that you've ever given to me is off of your tongue that you claim is golden and blessed by God, unable to lie. You have never provided me any physical evidence that would prove that you would not actually hurt the person that has the restraining order against you, or her daughter, or her family. You haven't provided any evidence other than, and I'll paraphrase, I would never hurt her, I would never hurt her daughter, I would never hurt her family. They know that. That doesn't hold up in a court. That doesn't hold up in law. You say that you studied criminal justice. I would think you know that, right? Just because you say it doesn't make it true. It's not what you can say, it's what you can prove. You need to have the evidence, correct? Now, the only evidence realistically that you can have in this aspect is time. And unfortunately, time doesn't run out. You can't say, well, give it 5 months and 14 days and 7 hours. And then if, by that time, then we'll believe you. Well, what if on the 8th hour, now you go and do something stupid to her? It's just... You expect me to just believe the rhetoric that you're spewing, and then I have to take your side of it. I don't take her side of it. She has provided evidence. You claim, this is your claim, that the evidence that she has put forth has been doctored. It is a video that's been cut and spliced to make you look bad. It has not. I have seen it. I have seen the whole video in its entirety from back when. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times, actually. And not once did it look any different than any other times that I had seen it. And there is a section in there to which you specify you're going to have to do what you're going to have to do. Now, if you said legally, there's a space of silence until you say that. If you said it at all. Now, in other videos, you've said that, absolutely. You have said you will have to do what you have to do legally. But let's look at this in a very serious, let's look at this in a very serious manner. Pardon me. You claim you would never hurt her. That's fine. Let's just take for what you say at face value. You would never hurt her. You would never hurt her daughter. You would never hurt her family, right? This is what you claim. Are we in agreement on this? This is what you say that would never happen. You would never hurt any hair on their head. You would never do anything to them, right? Okay, so if we're agreeing on that, can you tell me then why you have taken upon yourself to say if, and you've said this in many of your videos, when I actually could watch them, and then the bunches of them that have been sent to me, can you actually explain then why you say in the videos that if you win this appeal, then at that time you're going to do whatever it is you want to do, and you're going to put everything out there, and boy, is it going to be a shit show for her. So hang on, you said you would never hurt her or her daughter or her family. So you're only saying you would never physically hurt them, right? But emotionally and mentally hurt, that doesn't qualify because you feel it's justified because you think they've done that to you. Well, don't you ever remember the old saying, 2 wrongs don't make a right? What gives you the right to now go and attack somebody? If you won the appeal and you got the restraining order dropped, that should be enough. And I remember at the times that we were talking, when I actually used to have conversations with you, I remember back then that I used to tell you, you know, if you win the appeal, just drop it. Don't just leave it alone. You got what you wanted. You get to go see your son now. Everything's fine. The whole thing's off. You can do whatever it is that you need to do. Just leave them alone. No, 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 no. You had to find your act of revenge. Whether it be suing them for false report, whatever it is that I can't remember exactly what you said, so I'm not even going to bother trying to paraphrase it. But there was a bunch of things that you did say back then. And I'm sorry, I just can't buy into this. You are wanting me to believe your truth, and the only truth that you're spewing comes off of your tongue. Everybody has an opinion. As they say, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Well, Grimlock, just because you have one doesn't mean I want you to shove yours in my face. Nor does anybody else want to hear about it. I have asked you just get over it, move on, and do something positive for yourself. Albeit, you tried. You tried. You came up with your own talk show, to which you still belittle me, calling my show the Wendy's commercial. Really? Do you really think I'm not smart enough to figure out that you're talking about me, and do you think that other people aren't intelligent enough to figure it out as well? You still slander me. You still slander my show. I've asked you to not talk about me, but for whatever reason, you can't do it. It's so wonderful that I live so rent-free in your mind, that I bother you so much, that you just can't stop talking about me. Do you have a crush on me, sir? I'm sorry, I don't swing that way. It's ridiculous. The shit needs to stop, man. It needs to stop. You want to say that I'm a manipulator, that I'm a liar, that I've... Name one thing I lied about. You say I owe your models an apology. For what? Because you could not afford to pay them maybe what they would deserve to get for working with you? That's not on me. That's a you thing. I had nothing to do with the money that you wanted to give to them. I never criticized them for their height, weight, age, sexual orientation, race, creed, religion. I never said anything negative about them. Yet you say that, oh, they're pissed off at me. Well, good on them. I'm sure they've gotten over it by now. And if they haven't, well, then maybe they need to seek professional help to help them get through it. Nobody's doing anything bad to you. You mentioned in that video also about the bingo place that you like to go to. Do you want to know the whole story behind that? I'll tell you right now. One day, Mr. Thiz asked me if I would be willing to come back to his bingo and call. Wanted to know how much I would charge to throw some events. He said, you'd be a free agent, you wouldn't work for me, but I want to know if you want to call at my bingo. A quote from J. Thiz himself. Out of the entire metaverse, he says, this man, pointing at me, is the best bingo caller in the metaverse. So your claim that you were the best, obviously, it's a self-appointed award because somebody else thinks that I'm better than you. Anyways, doesn't matter. This isn't to see whose dick's bigger contest. Because, well, I would win. But it doesn't really matter. I'm still drinking my coffee. I apologize. That was a cheap shot. But it is what it is. Try to have some fun with this. This is just a silly thing. But I asked J. Thiz. I said, so I told him I really couldn't come back and work there to do calling because from what you had said, you had claimed that you're now calling there and you go play bingo there. And well, realistically, I didn't want anything to do with you. So I told him I couldn't do that because Grimlock is a caller for you and he goes there to play. And I said, isn't this true? This is what's going on. J. Thiz laughed and he said, no. Grimlock called one time because one caller asked him if he would call because he needed to take a break or she needed to take a break. The person needed to take a break. I wasn't there. So I don't know, male, female, don't know. They were taking a break and they wanted you to call. So they didn't know that you weren't supposed to really be up there, but they did what they did. J. Thiz handled it, I guess, later on, talked to them, said, yeah, we can't do that anymore. They were uncomfortable with you. So me, Raven, none of us had anything to do with you ever getting kicked out of there. It was the fact that they were already uncomfortable with you. They really didn't want you around, but they tolerated it. But they actually, I hate to tell you, they had received complaints about you again. So this whole thing that, oh, all these people love your jokes and they love you there and everybody loves and respects you and whatever. Hell, even from what I'm to understand, Hacker went in there and you guys had a confrontation and the whole thing and everything happened between you and Hacker and whatever. And what? Somebody tried to pull you out and it ended up being Hacker being pulled out or whatever. Hacker put out a video saying, I want people to boycott the bingo hall because you're there. Well, I guess people were taking that literally because not as many people were showing up and because they found out you were going there. So they decided just to eliminate the problem and say goodbye to you. Now, with all the new bingos that are coming around, are you telling me you can't find a new bingo place to go to? I'm sure you could. Or is your reputation just too damaged that people just don't want to deal with you? This is just what I tried to help you with back when I was talking with you. I was trying to help you. I was trying to give you some advice here and there. Whether or not you were ever going to take it, I wasn't going to know. But be that as it may, all I can say is this. The truth that you want to spew out, until you actually show me some physical evidence, I'm not going to listen to the dribble that bounces off of your lips anymore. I'm not going to listen to the, well, this is the truth. This is what happens if you just speak it. Anybody can do that. It's the actual physical evidence is what I want to see. And so far, the only evidence I've ever seen came from the person that filed the restraining order against you. So what more do I have to believe until you can show me some actual evidence? And I'm getting a phone call right now, so I'm sorry. It was a little distracting. So I'm just going to close out by saying, be good, be better, and please stop mentioning my name in your lives and in your Facebook posts. Last I knew, you had over 500 followers. So it's not just sycophants that are watching your stuff. It is people who are following you, and you're giving yourself an even worse name by constantly complaining. Be good, be better, God bless, and I hope you nothing but success in your future. Captain Jack out.